All right, Joe Asher joining us right now, the CEO of William Hill. Thanks so much for joining us. It's been a long couple of days, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long few days. You know, the show might be bigger than ever this year, and tons of people. You know, you stand in front of the Starbucks out there, and you just see all these people you know, and it's a crazy few days for sure.
Yeah. So, what is next for you guys? I know you've been in tons of meetings.
Tons of meetings. In the broader picture, you know, sports betting is rolling out in a whole bunch of states, and there's just a lot going on. You know, our business is seasonal, and October is like the single busiest month because you got the baseball playoffs going on. You got NFL football in full gear. Hockey season started. Basketball's coming up. So just from a sporting calendar perspective, it's an incredibly busy period of the year. And then we've just, rolled out in a number of new states, and so we're busy getting up and going in those states, and there's just a whole lot happening.
I know. How much busier have you guys gotten as a result of some of these states now implementing online betting?
Yeah, it's super busy. It just gets busier and busier, and you just sort of find that the things you used to have the time to do, you no longer have the time to do. And so, we're in the midst of a big hiring spree trying to find a lot of people.
Hiring spree? What kind of people?
Spree. Certainly a lot of IT-related jobs, for sure. A lot of frontline personnel jobs out in the sports books, marketing, all sorts of things are as this business is really expanding. So 17 months ago, the United States Supreme Court basically overturned a law and turned it back over to the states to decide whether or not they wanted to have sports betting. And so really created the possibility of a whole new legal industry overnight, right? And you had this black market business. People were betting illegally with their bookies. Now they can come and bet legally with folks like us or competitors of ours. And it's a time that's, really unique and maybe going back to prohibition when you've kind of had this dynamic in place. So it's an incredibly busy period of time.
How important is it for the states to now have the authority to do this so that we don't see some of the money in the U.S. go overseas?
Yes. Look, it's without the ability to do it. Of course, that was just great for the black market and the illegal bookmakers. Now the fact that the states have the choice to do it, and a lot of them are moving to legalize sports betting, clearly creates a revenue opportunity for the states. Allows for job growth and job creation, which is something that's really great. And it's a big commercial opportunity for a lot of folks, us, the professional sports leagues, sports teams, media companies. There's a lot of people who are looking to get involved in figuring out how to play in the new sports betting ecosystem.
It's always very fascinating for me to see how people get started in this business. And I was reading that you went to school in Delaware, but you started off much younger than even before you went to college, even before you graduated. I mean, we're talking, you grew up in this business.
Well, yeah, for a period of time, we're a related business. My dad was a gambler, and so I used to go with him when he was gambling or going to the racetrack. He'd bet on sports, he'd play cards. I was shooting dice in the back of a butcher shop when I was about 9 years old. Kind of got out of it for a while, went to school, had a career as a lawyer, and then looked to get back into the gaming industry when I was a kid. I used to announce horse races for a living, and that's how I put myself through school. Came out of retirement within the last couple of years. There's a county fair up in northeastern Nevada, a town called Elko, and I call a horse race up there every year around Labor Day. I go up. So it's kind of fun to go back to my roots for sure.
You were one of the youngest, I read, one of the youngest announcers for
horse I was. Races. Started as a teenager, started calling horse races when I was 16 years old. At the time, at least as far as I know, youngest race caller in America. And it was fun. It was great, great for a period of time. And it's like riding a bike, because I was able to pick it up 25 years later and I wouldn't say pick up where I left off, but, get to a point where I was at least passable and presentable.
Speaking of horse racing, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about what you thought about what happened at the Kentucky Derby with the
horse being disqualified. Yeah, clearly the horse maximum security interfered with the horses behind him, and so there was definitely interference. It's a real shame in that there's no doubt he was the best horse that day. but he clearly interfered with other horses. Had it been like, the third race at Delaware Park on a Tuesday, they would have disqualified him within 3 minutes probably. The fact that it was the Kentucky Derby added a lot of drama and further considerations to it, but I thought it was the right decision.
Right call.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's by the rules. What do you think? I know you said you spent some time as an attorney before you got into this also. As an attorney, what do you think about the DOJ and how they have been interpreting the Wire Act from 1961?
Yeah, so I thought that the DOJ opinion back in 2011 or 2012 was right on the point. The woman who authored the opinion for the Office of Legal Counsel, Virginia Sites, widely recognized as sort of a top lawyer. And I thought when the DOJ issued the new interpretation of the Wire Act last year, I guess it was, or earlier this year, hard to remember exactly when, it was kind of a head scratcher. And it was unique because typically, unless the Supreme Court changes the law or Congress changes the law, the DOJ historically has not tended to revisit opinions coming out of the Office of Legal Counsel. So it didn't, it didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense or sit well. But obviously there was a political construct within which it happened. I saw the opinion that came out of the district court in New Hampshire, which seemed to make a lot more sense to me, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Thanks so much for joining us here.
Yeah, thank you.